This is how I helped Nero sign $10,000 clients for his YouTube offer before YouTube. As you can see in the screenshot, this is him closing a client for £7,500, which is about 10,000 USD, as you can see from the screenshot. And we did this by building him out a high ticket offer that took him from charging £97 to charging over $10,000 a client. And I think now he charges over $25,000 per client. And we helped him design a content strategy and an inverted ad strategy that allowed him to get qualified prospects to pay his high ticket price. As you can see, spending £58 and getting $10,000 back, which is insane, which is the deal he closed over there. And then an appointment set assistant that would get him calls on his calendar with people that were just ready to pay him in full. I'm sure you guys know him because he blew up on YouTube super quickly. And this brought in a bunch of people trying to like copy strategy when he was winning, copy the video ideas. They tried to guess his funnel. I'm sure you've seen those videos. But what's funny is people always started copying around there, because I went into his social blade and I noticed that when he started blowing up, people tried to copy the strategies that were working for him while he was blowing up. But they don't realize that what he's doing right now was only working because he had systems and protocols he was following before he even blew up on YouTube. Because the funny part is, while we were working together, he was still making more than most coaches would make just from his IG alone. So let's be honest, is it more realistic to replicate a strategy that's going to get you to like millions and millions on YouTube views, or is it more realistic to replicate a strategy that doesn't need you to have a lot of views to make money online, that doesn't need you to go crazy famous on YouTube, and can replicate for a bunch of different coaches, which I've been able to make over like, I think it's over $8 million online at this point. So instead of trying to copy YouTube system, to be quite frank, that only a very small amount of people can achieve, replicate the system that I'm about to show you that took him to the point where he was signing one to two $10,000 clients per week. I'm going to show you every step of how he actually did that. So for further proof, I'm just going to play this video that he made for me.
Shout out my boy Mahiz, man. You know, it's safe to say that I genuinely, this isn't an understatement, I genuinely wouldn't be in the position that I'm in if it wasn't for him. When I met him in my journey, the guy literally doubled my income in the space of like 6 weeks.
So I'm gonna let you guys watch that in your own time. If you want to check out that video, there's the first link down below in the description. It will let you go through it. But let me just get into the video, because this same strategy, like I said, I've replicated a bunch of different people. I've worked with over, I think it's like 70 or 80 plus coaches at this point. I've coached over 300 plus service-based businesses alone. And it's not a one-off, because till this day, this IG protocol is still responsible for Hassan getting over 135K a month for his coaching business, Gucci making over $2 million with a high ticket offer, Amal making over $70,000 with a brand new offer just for Muslims, and just alone this is already $5 million. This is not including my other clients, and I'm going to explain how they did it. So how do you go from charging £97 at the time to charging $10,000 and even close to $25,000 per client? So just to give you some context, he was selling low ticket courses before. There was no high ticket programs. This is an example of the course that he was selling before. Now it's about £150, but before it was like £97. And this just proof people were actually like buying it. But then after, he was able to close a million clients, and he was even at the point where like, I'm not going to work with people that are making less than 6 figures. So how do you even charge that much? What was he offering? Who was buying it? And how do you even get to this point in the first place? So let me explain what he was offering. He was offering a mindset coaching offer, and I'm sure a lot of you watching this work with people that sell coaching offers, or maybe you sell a coaching offer for yourself. So in a simple program breakdown, this is exactly what it was. He was working with 6 to 8 figure clients, and he gave them a program. He gave them a group chat where they could obviously mastermind and talk. He gave them Zoom meetings, pretty much one-on-one. It's like a one-on-one program, and exclusive access to pretty much being able to talk to him whenever time that you wanted to talk to him. And you might think that you can, this is a pretty basic offer, so how are you charging $10,000 to $25,000 for it? Because a lot of people are stuck selling one-off consults for like, an hour, especially the mindset people, or they're selling like, packages for like $1,000 to $5,000 market maximum. But the way that I want you guys to think about pricing, and I'm gonna flip your beliefs over here, is pricing is based on perspective. And the way that I price is I do pricing based on the perspective pricing strategy. So the way that works is very simple. You sell it to people that can afford paying that price, because the outcome you can provide to them is greater, is going to basically just outweigh what they're going to pay anyway. So for example, if you're going to make someone, if let's say you indirectly change someone's life, let's say you have a relationship coaching offer, you indirectly like build a crazy life for them, or you have a mindset coaching offer, you indirectly help them manifest thousands of dollars, or be in a better place in their life, or you indirectly help someone like get rid of the trauma, for example. That on its own is so valuable, because the repercussions of them not hitting that could be extremely high. So you need to basically market those pain points and talk mainly more about the outcomes itself. So let me give you an example. What's the difference between these white t-shirts? Let's just say they're the exact same quality. One is, 16 pounds, 3 pounds, 55 pounds, and then the other is over $500. Like, these are like $500 t-shirts. So what's the difference between both of these things? Let's say they're the exact same quality. The difference is one of them is marketing to not people who are poor, they're marketing to normal people that can afford paying that in the first place. So they're marketing it to not everyday people. So their market, for example, Bruno, I can't really say the last, Brunello, the market is millionaires and billionaires. People that basically want high-end luxury stuff. As you can see, this is a screenshot of like, the target market and it's high net worth individuals. So the reason you can pretty much like price whatever you want is whoever is seeing your pricing, the perspective is different. Because let's say, for example, it takes a millionaire, I don't know, a couple minutes, or let's say like an hour to make that money for the t-shirt, they're not going to value it as much compared to someone that has to work 20 to 40 plus hours to make that 500. They're going to think to themselves, whoa, my time is so much, like my time is literally like, this is like 40 hours worth of my time. I'm not going to pay for this. But if someone can make that in like an hour and a couple minutes, they're not really going to care. So that's why he can charge that much. And also the repercussions of it, if they have a nice t-shirt that's good quality, that they don't need to change that often, they can wear that wherever they want, to any conference, to any business meeting, and they're going to be fine with it. So the reason you can charge this much is because he's targeting the right market. And it's the same way that people pay like $20 for a haircut, and then people like Drake will pay like $500 to $1,000 for a haircut. Pricing is extremely subjective, depending on the impact that it can provide and the person that you're trying to sell it to. So if you can help people, just slightly help them make more money or have a better impact, and you do it for the right people, you can charge a lot of money. So you don't have to be working with millionaires or rich people to make this type of money, by the way. Like, a lot of people have a misconception that's like, oh, you have to start selling only to rich people. I'm not saying that. You just really don't want to be marketing your services, especially if they can provide a lot of value, to poor people. Because if you are going to be doing that, you at least want to go after people that are a little bit more sophisticated. Let's say people that have jobs, or people that have, if you want to talk about that stuff, credit, or like maybe people that have like disposable income aside that they can use to start whatever thing that you want to work with them. But it's not the majority of people that are going to be millionaires and billionaires. Obviously, I know that. But there's a lot more people that have money than we actually think. The only way that you have to attract them is by framing the outcome the right way. So what we did for him is we framed the outcome to basically tell people that, hey, we are going to basically help you get rid of all these things and all these limited beliefs that are stopping you from getting to your best version of yourself. So how do you even attract this ICP in the first place? So now that like we know, okay, cool, we're not selling to poor people, so when we're selling to rich people, we can technically charge whatever we want, which is what we did for Nero. I told Nero we're not attracting anyone that's not going to pay us more than 5,000, 10,000, 15,000 at that time, and that's what we did. So now you're like, okay, cool, how do we get these people to even look at us in the first place? How do you attract the right ICP? Super rich people, okay? So initially his content was going after people who are just kind of like B2C. So he was making videos about like people like spiritual rappers and like random different shit, like people trying to manifest the X-Pac, whatever. So like this was attracting the wrong types of people because they had no money. And it didn't really resonate with them. They were just kind of like, oh, this stuff is really cool. I really like this concept. So you have those like spiritual woo-woo guys. And this was just getting a lot of people to be like, oh, this is pretty cool. Like, I like this. But no one watching this stuff was ever going to pay 5,000, 10,000, 25,000 for this type of coaching, because it's just not the type of ICP that would pay for that. So we literally had people like messaging us, look, can you help me manifest my XTV back? And that's not what we want. So we have to flip it, start resonating with people who actually want to build businesses, who are already running businesses, successful ones. And then this happened. What's funny is that the views actually started going down. I should have put a screenshot of what that looked like. I'll try to find that over for you guys and put that over here. But what's funny is the views were actually going down when we did this. However, we were getting so much more qualified people coming through the funnel. Now DMs were starting getting filled with people that were making 6, 7, even sometimes 8 figures, probably even more at this point, just from the DMs alone. And what's crazy about millionaire clients is they always piff up front. And 99% of people who have coaching businesses don't understand the messaging is so important. They think because if their content is not getting crazy views, they're not making the money they want to make. But if your content is showing to people who are 50% more likely to buy your stuff because they're the right ICP, and it gets less views, but versus your content going super, super broad and only 10 or 5% of people can actually afford what you're trying to sell, what would you rather have? like what's going to make the most sense. And if you guys are struggling when it comes to like your actual content strategy or like how to actually design something that's going to get the right ICP, we actually come in and build the entire content strategy for the clients that we work with. So if you want to check that out, there's a short video like down below if you click the first link in the description that explains how we can actually help you make more money. But anyways, let me just get back into the actual video. There's a way to actually get these high value people to follow you consistently without having to rely on organic content. So how do you do that? You do that with inverted profile ads, and these are way different to the normal ads that I'm sure you guys are probably used to that we'll see every single time online, because the regular ads are super salesy. They require the user or the prospect to do so much in high intent action, click a link, go to this place, blah blah blah. They attract sometimes a bunch of freeloaders, funnel hackers, and a bunch of unqualified leads. They're super expensive to run and they aren't easy to actually run. But when you start using inverted profile ads, it's different. They're not as salesy. They attract the types of people who are willing to follow and engage with you. They also attract qualified leads because people genuinely want to engage and work with you, and they're ridiculously cheap to run. So for Nero, we ran inverted profile visit ads to attract people to us, not directly to sell them. So I'm going to show you the actual ad, like what we actually wrote in the ad that was allowing us to attract these types of people. I'm going to break everything down line by line. I probably even should be showing this, but I want to give you guys a bunch of free games so you can understand why this worked. I'm going to go over everything line by line and explain how this was able to attract millions of clients. So let me just go into Descript over here. Hope you guys can see this. I'm going to explain how this worked and why this was like doing extremely well. So hope you guys can hear this when I play this.
4 million in 4 weeks. What would 5.4 million in 4 weeks do for your business?
So I'm gonna like annotate as I'm going. So the first part is here. For what will 5.4 million do in your business? This is the hook that we're using to attract these types of people, because the only person that can relate to getting 5.4 million in your business is someone that's already probably making millions or they're making multiple six figures. So that's the way that we use to actually attract these types of people. And then we reference a client, Sony. So let's get into the video.
This is my client Tony, and for 7 years straight he was stuck at a revenue level of 2 million per year in his business, and because of this he became demoralized. He felt like no matter what he did, no matter how much effort he put in, his results were just stuck in the same cycle.
So very important what we're trying to do here. For 7 years straight, he was stuck in the same revenue of 2 million per year in your business. Someone that is making at least close to $1 million or like somewhere around that is gonna relate to this, because they're gonna be like, all right, cool. I've definitely been stuck in the part in my business where I haven't been making the money I wanted to make. And he says for 7 years straight, so it's only probably gonna attract people that are willing to sit down and who have been in business for a very long time. 7 years is a very long time. So what I'm trying to say is, we're weeding out the people who are just never going to relate to this anyways, and we're talking directly to the type of people we want. Because the thing about inverted profile ads is when you're trying to attract, you really just have to talk more about the type of person that is going to relate to the ad and more likely to actually work with you. In this case, it's people who are making a lot of money with their business that feel stuck because of whatever reasons, which might be their limiting beliefs or they just haven't broken past that. So that's the exact messaging what we're doing, and this signals to the ads manager or like, you know, Meta, that we're saying, hey, we want people who can relate to this. So what's going to happen is it's only going to try to show it to people that can actually relate to this. Okay, so I'm going to get into the rest of this.
I showed him one insanely simple framework, and with that he was able to secure a contract for his business worth 5.4 million. Now what this framework will do,
so let me just explain. Showed him one simple, insanely framework, and with that he was able to secure a contract for 5.4 million. So within the first 30 seconds, we give them the wow factor. We give them the kind of like a mini like pitch, I would say, that tells them like, whoa, this person acquired someone for 5.4 million, and this was one simple framework. So what happens is people are like, wait, what is this one simple framework? I'm curious to know what this is, because if it took someone that was stuck for 7 years in their business to then make it XYZ, how is that possible? What is that framework?
It will help you align yourself on the mental and spiritual plane, because right now you've done everything that you can. You've put in all the work. So if you want this insanely simple framework, DM me mine. Now,
so that's the first CTA, and it comes very early, and this is super important. You want people to know what type of action they want you to take, and in this case we're telling people to DM. And to give you some more context is we're basically explaining what this actually was. So because we're saying like, you know, the spiritual stuff, the woo things, it's going to relate to people who have already kind of been looking into this stuff already, but they might not be too sure how everything actually works. So we tell them that, hey, you've done everything you've tried, you've done all the work, you've put in the work. So that's only going to, like I said, relate to someone who's been in business for a very long time. They've done the work, they're making a lot of money, and they're like, what is the next thing that can take me from where I'm currently at to the next level? And then we give them the CTA, which is like DM me mine for the thing.
Now, to elaborate further on what I mean, we made no changes to his business. No changes. The only change was purely.
So now we're basically going after the skeptics, because now everyone's like, there's a couple types of people that are watching this right now. So you've got the people who are like super ecstatic. They're like, whoa, what's this framework? Let me just DM straight away. You've got the people who are like, I'm a bit, this is a bit fishy still. I'm not too sure what's going on over here. You got the skeptics, and then you've got people who have probably already clicked off. They're just like, yeah, fuck this guy. Like, that's probably what's going to happen. But the people who are a little bit skeptics, we want to basically break even more beliefs. So we tell them like, hey, this was not done with any simple business change. We made no changes to the business. What we change is we change purely a frequency shift, which you can see over here. And just so you know that I'm not a manifestation guy, because obviously now people are skeptical. Because they'll say, for example, I come to you and like, hey, I'm a 10-year-old kid and I made $20 million online, and I did this by doing one simple strategy. Basically, your bullshit rate is going up, especially when you're running ads to people who don't know you, which in this case we were. Your bullshit rate is high. You're like, okay, cool. What the heck is this guy talking about? Like, what's basically giving him all his credibility to talk about? So we're bringing that out into the open, because that's what people are thinking in the moment. So that's why when you truly understand your ICP, guys, and when I say truly, I mean truly, you'll be able to make whatever content that can attract anyone coming through the door.
Purely a frequency shift. And just so you know, I'm not another bullshit manifestation woo-woo guy. Here's another.
Like I said, because that's what people are thinking about. And this is so specifically scripted. Every single word that he's saying is specifically planned out. And I know like it might be tricky to even script these ads yourself. So that's why we do these for our clients that we work with.
Another client transformation. This is Valerie. Valerie began to resent her business. She was working hard, overwhelmed, and she just felt like her business wasn't producing enough money that she wanted. And when I showed her this one insanely simple framework, she was able to close £85,000 in 1 week worth of business.
It's the same thing again. We are basically getting the type of person we want to attract, which is someone who is making a lot of money with their business. So we talk about another case study, which is Valerie, and we basically said that, hey, she was working hard, she was overwhelmed, and she was like, damn, I'm not making the money that I want to make, but I feel like I should be making more. And then we then did the magic thing again, which is one simple framework, made £85,000 in 1 week worth of business. And then that's going to blow people's mind again, because now we're showing two people that have gone through the same thing. So we're basically showcasing like the results that we can actually achieve for these people.
£85,000 in 1 week worth of business. Or take Russell. After our first call where I showed him this one insanely simple framework, he was able to close a $180,000 deal for his construction company. So if you want this one insanely simple framework, if you're a 5 to 7 figure per month entrepreneur, DM me mine and I'll give you that framework for free.
So as you can see, we make the CTA very clear. We show one simple example. We do the same thing again. Someone that has been running with their business, and then after one simple call, we were basically able to just like change their entire business and close £180,000 worth of deals. And we tell people to DM for the framework. And obviously, this got a lot of people. Like I showed you at the start, like this was getting people. We got like I think 5 calls booked in, literally spending £7 on this ad. And you might think to yourself, how's that possible? It's because Facebook knows these rich people. Facebook knows the people who have money. Facebook knows the people that don't have money. Most of the time, people just don't know how to speak to them or talk their language, because this is only going to relate to someone that has worked a lot, has made a lot, that's basically told themselves that they're overwhelmed, they're stressed, and they're trying to figure out this magic pill that's going to take them to the next level. And he's talking about that. So he's basically giving them what they want. And people are just like, what the heck? Like, have I never seen this guy? Like, I want this framework. As a result, we got extremely qualified leads, because if I go back to what I was showing you earlier, as you can see over here at the start of the video, we were literally spending 86 rounds. And like, if I go scroll down and show you guys, even over here, like this is not normal to spend £7 and get 4 to 5 full qualified calls of people making $30,000 a month. So someone that was making 1.5 to 1 million to $5 million in a month spending £7. Tell me where you're gonna figure that out, where you're gonna actually see something like that, you know? So that's why I'm telling you the ad strategy is super important in itself, because when you run a virtual profile visit ads to get people to just come to you, because they are case studies, they don't sell. They just attract people who are basically similar to the person you're talking about in your actual case study ad. So they get high engagement because they're a normal reel. They're extremely cheap because the algorithm knows the ads aren't selling. So you're not going to bid on expensive keywords. So Instagram knows, okay, this guy's just trying to show some value. They're thinking you're trying to get engagement, and because it's a very simple ad that not a lot of people are dropping off on unless it's the specific people, it's like, sure, get pushed out. So that's why it shows you to the right types of people, and that's why you can make a shit ton of money with them if you craft them the right way, and you attract extremely qualified prospects. And like I said, if you guys don't know how to write them, because there's very specific ways we do them, we write these one-on-one for every single client that we work with, because we know how powerful they are. So if you wanted to get results like what I just showed you above for any sort of coaching offer, then just click the first link down below. There's a quick 3-minute video that explains how it can help you make more money. But I'm not done, because I really want to show you the entire funnel that I showed you earlier at the start of the video that allowed him to even just do all of this, because there's an entire ecosystem behind everything. Okay, so this is the hybrid consulting funnel, and it's very simple. Pretty much at the top of your funnel, and I'm gonna see if I can try, like, you know, open this up so you guys can actually see this in large. It's alright, so no worries, you guys can actually see this. I'm just gonna zoom in over here. At the start of the funnel, you have boosted ads, content, YouTube, that pretty much funnels people to become warm engagers. So this is your top of funnel over here. Obviously you have an editor that takes care of that for you, and then in the bottom of that you have your warm traffic. So you have people who are leads, followers, maybe they give you their email addresses for your newsletters or whatever, and you're pretty much funneling them either to a VSL or you're funneling them to a CTA. So what we were doing is we're funneling all the people that were coming in from the content and the IG to the DMs itself. So call to action, which is basically DM. So this is where your hot leads are. So these are guys who have expressed interest. They've seen the videos, they've watched the content, they've become nurtured. So they're like, hey, let me see where this guy's got. So they DM you, and then you put them into a sales call with a specific framework that you can use to get qualified people coming to you. So we book people on a sales call, and then obviously we give them the offer itself, and then obviously if they pay, you can collect anywhere between like 2.5 to whatever your price is. If you close 10K, you close 10K, and then you have a really good fulfillment system that gets results, because Nero is actually getting people results for his coaching. And then you use that money that you make to reinvest back into coach. So we use all that money we were making from the organic content that we're going after specifically business owners, and then we use that to then start running boosted ads so we can get more specific business owners very cheap, because we knew the exact strategy that we were going after. And then as you can see, we're getting results, case studies, wins, and testimonials, and we were using that to just get more and more people. So anytime someone that was super big in the space got results, we were able to run ads to get more people that were also super big. So if someone that was making $2 million a month makes 5 million, we make a result of that, we get someone that's probably making 5 million and wants to get to 10 million, and obviously vice versa and vice versa. So now they have all these qualified leads coming in. What is the next step? So we knew exactly what the ICP wanted. We created a VSL that was basically the resource that was explaining how you could actually manifest. Or was that one simple framework, which was like how you can like align yourself. I'm not going to get into too much of the technical details there, but in exchange for that resource, because the only part is the exchange, what happens, because to be frank, no one really goes to the resources anyways. What we were doing is we were just having DM conversations that we could easily set them the way that we wanted. So as people DM us with the word mind, we would pretty much just jump straight into it. And the reason why we would jump straight into this is we already knew that they wanted to get the framework, so we just asked them like, hey, what is your goal? And obviously these guys are business owners. One thing you have to keep in mind is business owners, they're straight up. If you ask them how much they're gonna make, they're just gonna tell you. They're not gonna dilly dally and be like, oh, whatever, because it's not like you're selling like fitness coaching or something like that. Obviously you have a specific different way that you do for fitness coaching, so that's why like when I work with people, I make it specific to their situation. But for him, since it's a B2B offer, we can just ask them everything, and then they gave us everything, and then we just send them the calendar link. So that was the actual process. It was never anything like too crazy. And then on that VSL, we'll go after the specific points that people were struggling with in the FAQs. So we made it extremely clear who we wanted to see the video. So we explained, hey, this is for people who are this, blah, blah, blah. Because like I said, we want to resonate with people that are in that specific bracket that can pay us a lot of money. And if you pair this with a really good closing process, we're getting like at least 1 to 3 qualified calls a day, you will be able to close at least 1 or 2 of these every single week, guys. And guys, that was the exact transformation that we're able to get from Nero. And because of this, he's able to pretty much just live the life of his dreams and take care of the people he loves. Like obviously going on private jets, doing all the fun stuff, that's pretty much like what I do this for. And it would have never been possible if we didn't like actually sit down and craft this specific offer. And if you're someone that's actually trying to get there where you can have freedom in your business, instead of just copying other people's funnels or what they're doing right now, you need to go directly to the source and personalize something for your situation. So the way of getting to your goal is 10 times more likely than copying someone that's already at stage 9 with the business while you're still at stage 1 and you're trying to replicate stage 9. So if you want me to actually come in and personalize this for you and let me build you a similar acquisition system that can actually help you go from where you're currently at right now to where you want to be, and basically copy and paste the system has made my clients millions of dollars in info, so you can break past your income goals and obviously help you get closer to living the life of your dreams and actually achieving freedom and consistency to get clients every single week. The first link down below, watch it. It's a 3-minute video that's just going to show you exactly how it can make you way more money in your business. Hope you check it out, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.